I'm about to share my screen. You guys should see it right now. See the screen? Two thumbs. Anybody? Two people.
Yep.
Okay, appreciate it. All right. So, as always, thank you guys for being here this morning. I sincerely appreciate it. Starting from the very top, the Black Gold Nation presents Cinematic Connections for Revolutionary Change, an engaging, enlightening, and entertaining assessment of movies as it relates to the forward progress of Black people in America, Africa, and the diaspora. What is the Black Gold Nation movement? The Black Gold Nation movement is an international organization that seeks to liberate and save Black people by establishing our own towns, that should be plural, / cities, whereby we control the environment to make our people bigger, better, and stronger. We want everybody to understand that our contention, the supporters, the members, the leadership in this movement, we believe that when we allow other people to control our space, we lose. When we allow other people to control our environment, we lose. When we allow other people to control any system, any aspect of that environment, we always find ourselves on the bottom of those systems, be it educational, be it economic, be it political, be it agricultural, be it spiritual. Anytime we allow someone else to control an aspect of our environment or the entire environment, we find ourselves on the bottom and on the losing end. So conversely, when we are in control of the space, when we are in control of the environment and the systems, we not only do just fine, but we outperform other people, which is one of the reasons why they seek to destroy every single thing we build. But that does not mean we should stop building. That simply means we need to up the ante as it relates to how we defend it, because it's not a matter of if they're going to try to destroy it, but when and how. Why we came to be, based on the understandings, teachings, practices, and strategies of past and current organizations that our leadership has lived, studied, and or taught, and the need to continue doing, we build upon the successes, minus the mistakes, to provide our people solutions that work now, to implement a 100-year plan to build power. What we're trying to do is build upon the successes that all those wonderful brothers and sisters and organizations, everybody that came before us, we want to build upon what they did, because all of them were successful to a certain extent, but we don't want to make the same mistakes or allow ourselves to fall prey to some of the things that they fell prey to. So we have to understand how they were doing what they were doing, why they were doing it. And most importantly, we have to understand that their work was not completed for whatever reason. That means that that righteous work is undone, which means we got to pick up the baton and run our leg of the race as best we can to ensure that we are moving our people forward. As we are doing this, we understand that we have to implement a 100-year plan, because our people are always behind the 8 ball. Everything that happens to us happens because we don't have the power to stop it. We got to implement a 100-year plan that's going to put our people always 100 years out. And of course, you cannot do that if you don't understand what's what. You can't do that if you don't study what's already happened and what's already been tried. And you're not going to be able to do that if you don't understand the current reality of what it means to be Black in this country and on this planet. And of course, we have to give our children that 100-year plan as we raise them in a completely different fashion that will let them know we're giving you this 100-year plan. We're giving you these solutions, these strategies, these tenets, this program, this understanding, so that you can add your 100-year plan onto it, so that as a people, we are always 100 years out. We have to up the ante and stop playing marbles and start playing chess like our enemies and oppressors, because that is the only way we're going to win. So with that, I'm going to turn this thing over to Brother Craig Lee, who's going to lay out and talk about this movie, Trick Baby. All right, brother, it's on you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, brother.
Good morning.
How y'all doing?
Solid.
All right.
Here.
As always, I like to begin our film discussions with a quick overview from everybody as to what they thought about the film. I had a chance to get with Tamani this morning, and he was a little mystified why I recommended this film. And after I finished a few minutes with him, he was like, damn, I got to get out my goddamn pants. There's a lot of things in there that he didn't initially check out. So with that, before we get into the film, I want you all to give me a little short overview of what you thought about the film.
Sisters first. Ain't but two of y'all.
That's it.
Okay. I had seen the film before, and I like Brother Tamani was wondering, well, why are we looking at this one? But when I saw this one, there were the things that resonated with me was the opening scene with the Black Panther. And then the narratives before and after the film were more important, were resonated with me more. The narrative with Martin Luther King and Muhammad Ali, and then after with the part that I think that was John Henry Clark,
Yep.
and what was the guy's name? Ralph Connor, about the John Henry Clark with the lack of access to God, and then Ralph Connor about the gun control laws, when that kind of really explained why blue and white folks were so savage. But then if they had to have a game, I guess they had a game. They just got greedy.
That, and to your point, Sister Fabu, although the version of the link that you guys received from Tamani by way of me, that was from a guy's channel. So that's not a part of the movie.
Oh yeah.
In terms of the intro and whatnot, but that's how he packaged the film to be viewed on his channel. But your other points are well taken. Next.
I thought I guess the most poignant part of the movie for me was at the dinner table scene.
Yeah.
The dinner table scene
Yep.
when they were talking about the you know, their burden with us and how we could be of value or not to them, and the the liberal use of the Negro and taking their men of power or their people of power out of their community because they would be more of a threat in their own community than outside of it, where they'd be more likely to just assimilate with them, be less powerful, and then be hated by their own. And I mean, it was so impactful when I was watching it. I stopped it and I called and my older son. I was like, Schaefer, I want you to listen to this. And when I restarted it for him and played it, he was like, oh, that's how they used to think. I'm like, no, baby.
Watch out. Okay.
Yeah. Like, no, sweetie.
Right.
Yes, that is how they used to think, and that is how they still think.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the Black person you don't want to be, the one that they're talking about, even though you are a part of their world, in so many ways, you don't want to fall victim to what they're saying. You're not gonna be that guy. And he was like, oh no, I was so it was so funny. It's like, no, I embrace my Blackness. I'm Black. It was like, very good, very good. It made me feel good about that. But it was just funny how he felt like, oh, that's how they used to think. Like, pumpkin. Nope.
That's right.
Sorry, that's how they still think, and that's how the people that you are surrounded by think.
Yep.
So you need to be aware of that. So that was probably the most impactful part of the movie for me.
Okay, and not only is it how they think, it is their nature.
Absolutely.
Next.
Hey, can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, y'all know it's early for me, brother. But I didn't see the Virgin Sister Fabu was talking about. Because I had the film on another platform, so I didn't see that. I actually saw the film, but I did take some notes. So the first thing that stuck out to me throughout the whole film is that like there really were no positive Black role models to me in the entire film. I mean, from the beginning to end, I was trying to find, is there a positive Black role model here? I mean, from the hustlers to the pimps to the
good point.
The indoctrinated, the preacher, man, his whole thing, the crooked cops. I mean, and then the blues wife was cheating. I mean, everybody was depicted in the lowest possible form that we could be depicted in, and I that stuck out to me. I kept looking like, well, who's the hero? Where's the Black city? Everybody was on some foul shit in the movie. I agree with Sister Tara that the most poignant portion of the film was at that dinner table, man. That was so cold. I mean, what they was breaking it down. Let me look up my notes here. So they were liberals and conservatives together as
at the same table. That's right.
Many times in our discussions.
Yes,
like
sir.
It was right there crystal clear for you to see that the liberals and the conservatives were together talking about us. And they had, people serving them, brothers and sisters serving them, listening to this conversation on the side and breaking down how they systematically thought about us in different ways and why one was doing one thing one way and one was doing the other thing the other way. But they did all have the same goal as they want to win and they want us to lose. It was very clear. And yeah, the liberals want to give us jobs and keep us close to them. That they'd keep your enemies close, and the conservatives, well, why you fucking with them? That part was just crazy to me, and just the whole culture of the film was good. I had seen the movie a long time ago, so looking at it again with fresh eyes and knowing that I had to actually review it and look at it made me look at the film in a critical format. So and of course, the brother Blue has to die at the end. The brother has to die, and the white guy lives. And you know what I'm saying? And I just say Blue had a fine wife, but she was young and she cheated on him because she was there for the money. And the white folks, his girl was ugly as hell. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what the hell was going on there. Like, ooh, they get the most ugliest white woman that they can find to be in the film with this guy. But that's pretty much kind of my synopsis. Another thing that stuck out to me was that when they went to see the preacher, Joe Feces, I think his name was, and all the gangsters was around. And they was all looking all hard, but as soon as he flashed the fake badge, they cut out. They got scared of the police. That shit was like, yeah, that's some real shit still going on today. So, that's my synopsis, brother.
All right, good go.
Yeah, well, for me, I have to piggyback on everything everybody said because I don't want to take up too much time. I was a shorty growing up during that time period. And even looking at the bar scene reminded me of some of the bars that I had walked into as a youngster.
Okay.
And seeing some of the same kind of characters, it really blew me away. It kind of took me back in retrospect, But being Iceberg Slim, and knowing that it was something that he had written, it fitted to a T. What the dichotomy of the dinner scene kind of took me. I said, now, is he going to take this further? That's what I wish could have gone further. The something surrounding that, but it was effective. And what he said, because like the brother said, hey, looking at it with fresh eyes, I hadn't seen it in many years, so I had to go back and review because it was nothing in memory there. But yeah, that scene kind of switched it all around for me, and I was saying, give me more of that, So other than that, and me being me, I go back and do a little research because I was ready for Craig today because he wore our butts out last week. the teacher wore us out last week with that yardstick, but I didn't realize that that movie grossed over $11 million.
Exactly.
$11 million.
Exactly.
So it was done on a $600,000 budget. And that something gun made $11 million. I said, well, I know Iceberg Casket was lined with a diamond with that one. But with that, I'll lead back to.
Great observation, great research there, fella.
I was ready for you.
And that's interesting, Brother Kim, because we had that brief conversation about how much it costs to make and how much money they gross at the end. So that's pretty good, brother, that you want it. So kudos to you, man. That's cool. My perspective is the same. Well, obviously, Brother Craig's already said the same as Sister Fabu. I didn't quite understand why we were watching this particular film. I saw pieces of I saw the pieces when he finally broke it down to me as far as what was what. I saw all the pieces. I just didn't see the entire puzzle of why we were watching it. I thought, especially at the end, Brother Naru talked about the preacher scene. I thought he wanted us to watch it because he wanted us to understand the importance of the melanated black hybrid, black person who can maneuver all worlds. Because when he got to the preacher, he needed help. The preacher said, "Hell no." But then he started to speak the preacher's language. And he said, "Oh, Jesus." It's like, and then all of their hustles, all of their cons, they spoke the language of the con of the hustle. So they were able to move in these other worlds, quote unquote, so to speak, and do what they had to do. So that's what I thought he wanted us to get from it. But as we talked about it further, I saw all of that stuff. I just didn't see the big picture. Unlike most of you, I had never heard of the movie, so it was completely new to me. I was happy to see my man Isaac in it from the Love Boat. That made me smile. And I thought the chase scene lasted like 8 days. He chased that white boy forever. Well, that's why it cost so much damage, because they were traveling with the camera. But overall, I thought it was a good movie. And of course, that dinner scene was quite telling. And now that Brother Naru mentions it, not having any positive black characters, I don't know. I'm assuming you don't have the version that Brother Craig sent us, Brother Naru, but I'm gonna send you the version that he gave us, and I want you to listen to that Muhammad Ali clip, because what you said is the exact same thing that Muhammad Ali said as far as when they make movies. He was saying, "You won't give me money because my characters are gonna be different than yours, and when you make movies about us, it's these characters," and everything that you just said, Brother Naru. So, of course, overall, I thought it was a great movie. I just didn't get the big picture initially.
Cool, great. All right, so let's get into this. I think Sister Fabu knows by now, within the first few minutes of the film are the most important minutes of the film. So what do we find out in the first 3, 4, 5 minutes of the film?
That, well, from my perspective, from what I got from the King's speech, that was the biggest thing for me, that they do everything for white people, the government. They give white people every single thing they need. And King kept saying, and on top of that, and on top of that, and on top of that. And then you want to tell us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. I thought that was extremely heavy.
Yeah, but that's not a part of the film. So that's the
intro. Right, okay.
Yeah, that's the intro that the guy who owns that channel, he put with the film. But I'm talking about once we get into the actual film, what's within the first 3, 5 minutes, what do you all see as something that stood out, or the most important thing that stood out in the first few minutes of the film?
Oh, for me, it was the level of the con that they were willing to run on the beginning, because when he was setting up everything to paint a certain picture to swindle the white dude or the Italian dude, whoever he was. So that stuck out to me, the lengths to which they were going to make sure the con worked.
Exactly, that's good. Anybody else?
That's what kind of stuck at me. This brother staged it to a T. I mean, setting the trash out and making it look like he had lived there, and the costume, the whole dynamics, like Brother Tamani said, the game that was willing, the extent in which he was willing to go.
He knew his mark, didn't he, Brother Ken?
he knew it very well. Wow.
I like that.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Yeah.
What stuck out to me is that they wasn't new to this, especially Blue, man. You could tell that he was a master at what he was doing. He had put in time and work, and he had researched how to do this, or been taught how to do this game, and he had done it to perfection level. And he also realized that the white boy who said he came out of a black woman, I guess interesting, but that he was going to be so beneficial to his business. So he was actually using, the white boy to make more money, and the white boy knew it too. He knew that he was beneficial in that way. So it was going to be a match made in heaven or hell, or whatever you want to call it, because it was going to work. And they could scam more people with him than two black people, or a black man and a black woman, could ever do.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
Good point. Good
and
point,
for
Naru.
me, and for me, when he said well, in my own words, he was saying that the white people were too dumb to do it, to know the game. And if they did, they would be masters at it just like they were. But the
okay.
white, yeah.
And I also like how it did come full circle at the end, like when he died, when he was dying, that he like gave all the things that he didn't share with the white boy. He was like, okay, when you're looking for your mark, make sure they don't stutter, make sure they don't do this. He was like giving them everything, the other pieces that he maybe hadn't shared before to ensure that the con continued and that he was successful in selecting his marks.
All right, but what you supposed to be focused on right now?
I'm just saying it came full circle.
That is a great point as we get along in the film. That is a great point. She went to the Cliff Note version. That is a great point. But anything in the first few minutes, Babu, that jumped out.
No, that was it.
Babu.
They had a lot of jewelry.
Can I call her Babu? What the hell, Babu? Who's Babu?
That's a Louisiana thing.
Sister Tara Babu. I like that.
Okay.
So I'll be quiet.
All right. So that is a great analysis because it did show the meticulous nature that Blue went to in all of his deal. It showed you that this guy is a professional at what he does. So that leads me into a question which I should have did before I even asked that. The title, Trick Baby. What does Trick Baby mean? What is that?
I had no idea.
Anybody else?
I know what it means now. I didn't know then.
A trick is a John or somebody who goes with a prostitute. So I was assuming that he was the spawn of a prostitute in a trick, a black woman in a white trick.
That's a good one.
Wow, that's pretty good.
That's what I thought.
Okay, all right.
That's good. All right, anybody else?
Well, and I agree with Brother Naru because when I read the book, that was exactly the way Iceberg Slim kind of set it up, that this guy is the trick baby. He's the one that can be used by whomever is gonna play the game.
Okay. So, and both of you are correct. It is a literal thing between melanated Negro female prostitute getting with a white male John. Unprotected child comes out, and in New Orleans, South Louisiana, I tell you this story. I used to have an interest in a light-skinned sister at Xavier, and Tara and I both graduated from Xavier. I'm a few years ahead of her, and Xavier was not designed for a dark chocolate people like me and Tara, and so the brown paper bag thing in New Orleans is real, and so in that part alone, there's a movie that we haven't watched yet, but we definitely will watch it. But Imitation of Life is a film that we're gonna watch at a particular point. But that is the point of where this comes in. But so the brown paper bag thing is real. And so the sister was like, I really can't be involved with you, because if I took you home, my grandmother would fall out. And I say, huh? And she said, yeah, my grandmother is real light skinned. And she said she used to be Passe Blanc. And I say, Passe Blanc? What the hell is Passe Blanc? And she said she passed for white. Okay, now this shit is totally real.
Real.
in New Orleans and South Louisiana. And it really, there's another term I want you all to check out called placage, Placaige, placage. This is when the crackers came over from Europe in the early days, and part of the game was to be able to have sex with the African female, not only to relieve their sexual desire, fulfill their sexual desire, but to also create a new breed of melanated entity. And that's why we have to be very clear. So part of why I wanted you all to watch this film real time is understanding those different factions of African descendants that exist inside of this matrix that we're in. And so white folks represented that particular entity. He was Trick Baby. So it reminded me when that sister said, I can't take you home because my grandmother would fall out. Simultaneously, it represented what Sister Fabu was talking about, because Trick Baby is a metaphor for the tricks, i.e. con, that is now going to be played within the realm of Blue being the mentor for white folk.
And
so I thought it was a very good title.
Yeah,
Okay.
if I may, like I said, the parts that were interesting to me were the narratives before, the way the guy set it up. And when Muhammad Ali was talking to the guy who was interviewing him about the movies, and he said, those movies are the latest Trick Babies y'all got.
There it is. There you go.
There you go.
When he said that, I said, man, that term runs through everything when it comes to the philosophy, system, and game.
And that gets to the third aspect of the term, because the Trick Baby, okay, and y'all be ready for this. That's why I say you get deeper in terms of analyzing the wording and the content in the film. The third component, because during the Black exploitation film era, this is where the Negro male is now feeling empowered, albeit in many instances in a fucked up manner, but they're feeling empowered to come up with their perspective of analyzing themselves. Although they were still indoctrinated, they viewed themselves when they could be a pimp or a dope dealer or some kind of con. They viewed themselves in a power play position because they've never been in that position before. So now Trick Baby now comes to represent their power play against the forces of white supremacy. Get it? See, that's why he was so happy and excited, as you find out during his discourse in the film. Like, God damn, this is a prized possession. I can now run my hustle on the white man, because that's why that was the whole point of the opening minutes of the film. They found a mark who had money, because other than that, they're running a couple $100 hustles. So you got to grind out when you're running those kind of hustles. But this particular hustle, they came up on a quick 10,000. So within that, the whole thing was staged from coming into the building.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if y'all picked up on that.
Yep.
He comes into the building and he asks for the guy, the guy's name. Mm-hmm. And the guy tells him, we don't know that. And so he said, oh yeah, you do. And needless to say, look at what the old white dude, DeMarc, said as they were coming up. Man, he thought we didn't even show him in, and he thought we were cops.
That's right.
So even from the onset, but what the white boy didn't know, the guy at the hotel knew who white folks was. Okay, so from the start, they're running the hustle, and white folks have become very proficient at learning. And like Ken said, when he got upstairs, everything was staged. Everything was staged, and they played it to a T. And the whole concept was always, when you read the backstory, Blue would always play the gullible Negro who is getting taken advantage of by the white guy. All right.
That's a good point, Brother Craig. And it's like the more we watch these movies and films, the more, you know, if you're paying attention, you can see how everything is intertwined and connected. Because what you just said about them being very adept and astute at learning, and then you know, changing their tactics based on what they've learned. I remember when we watched the movie the 13th, and it was talking about this governmental, well, this private organization called ALEC, and how ALEC is into building prisons, and they've run into an issue where their name has been put out there, so they can't do things the same way. So what they're doing now is putting all their money into ankle bracelets and monitoring you in your community, because that's going to be the new prison system, the Black community. So what you just said, brother, you know, we can see that now, again, if we're paying attention.
Exactly. And so the Black exploitation genre, you know, those people who don't really understand it, they would just look at as Brother Naru was talking about, the negative characters in the film, but it's a little bit deeper than that, because those negative characters were, in many instances, the superheroes to the grassroots. Because remember, the grassroots is the field slave Negro, and although you have a working class in the grassroots, they are perceived as just marks of the overall system of capitalistic white supremacy. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at the children are exactly Superfly. The children wanted to be like these cats, because these cats would make the money, and then they would give money. If y'all go back and look at Sister Prabhu mentioned Superfly, go back and look at the Mac. The Mac, they made money, and then they put money into the little guy's hands, but they'll say stuff like, hey man, I want you to stay in school. I want you to do. So in their own little crazy ass way, out in Oakland, California, and San Francisco, where the Mac was based on, these Louisiana brothers coming in the pimp game, they were viewed as the damn superheroes of the damn Black community. Crazy as hell, but that's the end. And I know at some point we'll watch the Mac, because the Mac really plays up the superhero pimp and the real superhero revolutionary in Goldie's brother, but Goldie's brother is broke as hell. So, but Goldie's brother is talking all the Black revolutionary talk that we're talking now, but his ass ain't had no money.
Exactly.
It's like, nigga, what you talking about?
Right.
You can make none of what you saying come to life. You see my car, you see my clothes. That's why I'm constantly telling you all, money, status, and materialism, we have to be able to acquire that as grassroots empowerment revolutionaries, because it ain't never happened before.
Right. And if you don't have that bling bling, they're not gonna listen to you.
They're not, because that's what they view as reality.
That's their religion.
Okay? That's their religion. All right.
I think the Panthers were the closest thing we come to the revolutionary superheroes.
Sure.
Having, you know, they had, you know, white liberals giving them all kind of shit, dude. I don't know if y'all know Huey was living in this penthouse right on the lake at the top of the fucking penthouse. And, you know what I'm saying? That these white folks pay for. So
Exactly. And that's the fucked up thing about it. You're right.
Yeah.
And that's the fucked up thing about it. They did tap into money, but the money diverted their motherfucking ass and it diluted their overall message. So you're absolutely correct.
More money, more problems, baby. More money, more problems.
That's because they lack that first pillar.
Yeah.
Their spirituality was not there.
Yeah, the spirituality and right culture was nowhere in the Black Panther. It was they touched on it slightly in terms of the cultural component, but what they showed you, and I'm so glad you brought that up, Naru. But if you ain't making your own money, even with the cracker, you're gonna get flipped in this game.
Yeah.
You're gonna get flipped in this goddamn game. You got to be an entrepreneur, but you're correct. They are as close as you gonna get to what we're talking about. So that's why when you look at them and analyze them, they did certain things right and they did certain things wrong.
No question.
When they finally figured it out in the late 60s, early 70s, when Bobby Seale ran for mayor of Oakland, it was too goddamn late.
It was too late.
It was too late.
No, and they had money coming in. I mean, at the height, that the newspaper was selling over 300,000 copies almost every week. And they had ideas to make these factories, clothing factories, shoe factories, and they got shut down. When they started talking about doing that, being self-sufficient on those type of levels, man, that's when they start getting hit hard.
And you know, brother Naru, that's a good point. And I thought about that point right there. Elevating the hustle, elevating the game, but having the community with you with the righteous hustle. Because in the movie, they were trying to find some place to hide, but everybody like, nah, man, you hot. I can't touch you, right? But if they had a community, if they had a tribe, if they had a nation, then they can move and flow and still do what they need to do because they got the backing of the people.
Well, if they would have been doing it right, they wouldn't.
To that point, brother.
That's why it's getting turned away. They wasn't doing nothing for the community. They wasn't righteous. You didn't see them giving no kickbacks and nothing like that. If you talk about when the pimp movies and stuff, and I see it in Oakland, I saw it growing up. They would give free food in the community. They would indoctrinate themselves in the community and give back, and that's what. Had you like, man, I want to be like that. I want to have a Cadillac. I want to have a perm. I want to have women and be able to move like this. So they some of the players and hustlers and pimps were smart enough to know they had to get back to their community.
Yeah, and you know
that to that point when Blue and toward the end when they were trying to hide. And the folk went to one of those guys, and the guy opened the door and told him, "I would suggest you get back to a white neighborhood."
You know, at some point we're gonna have to have that conversation, because although the drug dealers, the Bumpy Johnsons, and hell, I can't think of anybody, but the big gang members on that level, of course they had turkey drives, but they still killed in the community. Right. So we got to have that conversation whereby we talk about, you know, you giving us turkeys on Thanksgiving, nigga, for the rest of the year, you a problem. So yeah, that's a good point, Naru. That's an excellent point, man.
Yeah. And which brings me to go and write this down now, Tamani. The next movie to that point we'll go on and do is Hoodlum. Got it. Hoodlum. Because that brings the whole Bumpy Johnson. Now they don't get into the Malcolm, but they did a little bit with Marcus Garvey. But we'll get into that overall dynamic. Yeah. So now we set the stage with all that. So those are great points brought out by Naru and Sister Fabu. I thought we didn't see American Gangster.
Not yet. That's a hell of a one. Not yet.
Okay. All right. So let's do American Gangster.
Okay, and real quick, Brother Kim was about to say something.
No, it was just expounding on what you were saying, that they didn't have anywhere to hide. I mean, at the most, Blue bought drinks for the whole bar, and he couldn't even hide in the whole bar. They had treated to free drinks.
They sold him out, right?
Right.
Tell him I ain't here.
Yeah.
All right, so now after everything's been set up, Blue changes. And, he goes and bounces, and the white dude goes directly to the jewelry store because he's believing he about to make a goddamn, he about to flip his money.
That's right.
And he walks out that goddamn store like, I fucked up. So of course he wrecks his car, and this begins the whole situation. So now we get to the particular point. Yep, he had a heart attack. So now we get to the point where the emphasis turns on to the conversation between Blue and white folks in front of the so-called wife. They go ahead, come back, and true to form, here he's a comment, but he's in his mind treating the black female just like the white male later on in the film is treating the black female that's serving them at the table. Because see, white folks do this all the time. Rich white folks have Negroes around them. I want you to think about that now. This has been done throughout slavery. Mm-hmm. They discussing their goddamn business right in front of these Negroes, because guess what they believe?
You will never be able to do anything with that information, or you might not understand it, or you inferior, or whatever.
Or you be too goddamn scared to say anything.
Yeah, and same scene in the movie, the spook that sat by the door.
And you'll see it in Pelican Brief with Denzel Washington and old girl. His dad was a butler inside of the White House. That's how he got a lot of his intel. Because a lot of times, man, those people were too scared. Like if you go to the movie The Butler that Oprah Winfrey did, old boy did his job so goddamn well, but he wasn't gonna tell no goddamn trade secret. He didn't even want to tell Oprah what kind of goddamn shoes Jackie Kennedy had in the goddamn movie. Okay? So they're discussing these things with people who they really feel and know ain't gonna repeat, what's actually going on. Blue did the same thing in front of his wife, so she wanted to know all the details. How much money did you make? And now you see a jealousy between her, like she had towards white folks, because he was getting most of Blue's time, because Blue was an old con guy, and now the white boy has now matured. I've been teaching him. My protege is ready to fly, and it's like, God damn, this is wonderful.
Hey, Craig, Blue called her a boarder.
Yeah, boy. Oh my goddamn boy, she was hot. She was hot. She was hot, and that's what she said she was mad about. Because she said, you don't joke in front of people like that about me. But at the end of the day, what is he really saying? What was he really saying when he brought that term up to her?
You ain't doing shit. You ain't bringing no money in. I'm not the money, so shut up and be quiet, because you ain't really got no power here.
Exactly.
Matter of fact, from all indication, she was on the scene. When she came on the scene, even though he was the primary, she had played the game for so long with him, but he was the primary one that was bringing all the money.
Exactly. So that's why he said, you just goddamn border up in this camp. Other than sex, and of course we see what ends up happening with that. She with another younger cat, but at the end of the day, there was no value that she's bringing to the table. But in Blue's mind, she was of value, because yet again, the Negro male gets caught up in his lower nature, and he really is believing he's a shot caller, and she's actually running hustle on him, because they're lying to each other at the end of the day. And white folks played it off real cool in the apartment. He really didn't say anything as she's going off on it. So of course he leaves, and he's walking the next couple of things. He's walking, and he spots this white female who is, I didn't even understand that concept, being lost in the hood in Philadelphia. But of course he helps get her a cab, And now everything, when you learn how to navigate in this game, and they were doing it on the low level, con level, their mind is always working, sizing up a potential mark. This is how white folks work. They were doing the same thing from their perspective. Right. So now he sizes up old girl, and what do you learn in terms of running the hustle? And we talked about it a little bit in terms of the meticulous nature of them setting up the original con. What do we learn when he gets the cab for the white chick? What do we learn about a great con artist? They have to be willing to do what?
Go the extra mile.
And how did he go the extra mile?
He jumped in front of a moving cab, brother.
and he hopped in the cab with her. When they showed how the cab driver was looking at the white woman, which I thought was kind of messed up how they portrayed that. He said, "Well, I guess I'll ride with you." So,
because she's in the hood. Like, your white ass doing here? And you're correct, Naru. But now what ends up happening? Where do they go?
To a nice hotel.
All right.
That he didn't have a room in, but he threw it down so he could get up in there. He made that work.
Exactly.
So he fronted real hard so that she would think this cat is doing big thing. And he fronted that he was from out of town too, that he was from Chicago. He put the con down from the beginning. He already knew he was going to con from the get-go because he told her he was from another city. He was here on a convention, whatever. So he was already running the game off the top.
And part of the game was to jump in front of the cab, like you said, which showed what? Courage.
He's brave. You did that for me?
That was going to ride with her. That shows what? I'm willing to protect you. Now we get to the hotel. I want the goddamn best room, which shows what? I got money.
And sleeping with her had to be hard because she was not pretty. I'm telling you, he had to really be running some con on that because I was like, ooh, really?
Exactly.
Now he didn't know where that was going to lead him.
Sure did.
But what do you all hear in business? It takes money to make money.
Yes, sir.
The con artist showed you in this film on multiple occasions that you have to be willing to invest in the con to make the con real. All they were doing at a low level is what white folks, the architects, engineers, and managers of the philosophy, system, and game of capitalistic white supremacy racism do every day. They bait you in with some degree of physical reality, and then they flip the switch on your ass. So bam, he does that, and look at this. When he was having sex with the white girl, they were going back and forth between him and Blue having sex. What did you find out about Blue having sex with his wife versus white folks having sex with the white girl that he just met?
But his wife wasn't really into it, bro. She could have been damn near been reading the book or something. And the white girl was just sprung. Oh, she go crazy.
Yeah, there was more invested emotionalism in the white couple than it was with the black. They were just like going through emotion, like Brother Naru said.
So see, this is why when we get into breaking the goddamn film down, y'all start to really get into the real in-depth aspect of this shit. So he done showed courage by jumping in the cab, as Naru said. He done goddamn showed the willingness to protect her ass by riding with her ass to a hotel that she didn't even know what the fuck she was going, okay? He done showed that he got some loot by getting the best, putting the money up to get the best hotel, which also showed he had the ability to talk up. He had some juice. He had some flexibility. Not just money, he had status. See, that's where the status comes in, along with the materialism and the room. That white privilege is definitely there. So now we gonna close the deal by doing what?
The do.
That guy, God damn it! Bang, 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 bang. But goddamn me, Blues 22 didn't have no more goddamn pussy. And his wife is like, really, nigga, really,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
please. So that already showed you right there that she ain't willing to do nothing for him. But now the white female is like, this motherfucker, this my dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now, what do we find out? As that now scene piggybacks, we now are introduced to the damn white dude in the hospital with the heart attack, and we're introduced to who?
The gangster.
Yeah. Say it again, Naru. gangster,
man.
Now the plot thickens, goddamn. Because y'all didn't just run a damn hustle on a regular cracker. You ran the hustle on who?
The uncle, the wrong cracker, the uncle.
The family.
Yeah,
the family.
The white man.
Yeah, the family. The
Family.
uncle, damn mafia don. So,
Pirelli was his name.
Yes, right. So you done ran the hustle on Pirelli's uncle, and now, but Pirelli don't know who the hell did the hustle. He don't know nothing about it. He just assumes his uncle that had a heart attack. How does the plot now involve Blue and Mr. Whitefo?
Dirty cop.
The black cop.
No, the dirty cop.
The melanated cop.
The melanated
Oh,
cop.
okay, yeah, the melanated cop. Okay, I got it.
Right.
The melanated. I got you. Touche.
Because if he was melanated black, he wouldn't have did that shit.
That's right.
The melanated Negro dirty cop. That's how Pirelli. So now, what was the whole premise of that? What was he trying to do when he met Pirelli at the hospital?
Trying to get some money.
That's right, brother Naru.
Yeah, he trying to get some money out of him. You know, I think he probably was already working for him on another level already. It seemed like he must have had a relationship with him already just for him to be there and show up. So it seemed like he was already in with him.
That's a good analysis. He was probably already on the take or had heard about, the Mafia Don is always interested in intel.
Well, they seemed like they knew him already, though. When the way he came, it seemed like they knew him.
Not so much. He was familiar with Pirelli.
Okay.
Pirelli wasn't familiar with him, but that takes us back to a movie that Jack Nicholson played in called what?
The Departed?
The Departed.
Okay.
That's another good one.
Exactly, goddamn. But this is a spinoff to show you within that particular film, Whitey Bulger was always gaining access to what from the police?
Intel.
Influence. Okay.
Safety, protection.
Protection. Okay. So the brother, he wants the money, but what else does he want?
Status.
There you go. The goddamn status. He wants the status with the boss because the status will always lead to what?
Money.
Money, exactly. And a little power, maybe a little power and juice in the hood.
There you go.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
But let me something that now I'm trying to get the priority who came first. The cop that was in the bar that they cut the deal they had to pay when they made the scam. All right, they paid this guy for protection, and for some reason I couldn't see why this guy looked like he had some kind of rank because he had connections with judges and all this kind of stuff. Why he couldn't?
He wasn't the cop.
Okay.
Yeah. He wasn't the cop.
Okay.
I'm glad you brought that up. We about to get to him in a second.
Okay, let me digress.
But I'm glad you brought that up because we damn sure about to get to him. because that brings us to a whole nother point. And this is why all these goddamn Negroes be always announcing themselves when they come up on goddamn money. And when you announce yourself, everybody in the hood know what time it is. You know, because now how did he announce himself? Hold on, even before we get to that, let's go on and finish this particular part about the Negro cop, because he now comes into the scene. So we know he wants money and status. He wants a close relationship with Pirelli because he sees what the hustle is that the white folks are running inside of the police department. So he wants to run the same goddamn hustle. All right. So he lets it be known. I've already heard there's probably a few Negroes let me go rock and roll, but he didn't give him too much information. But he knew exactly who to go to because in his preliminary investigation, he knew it was a white dude and a Negro. Well, who else running the hustles at that time that would be running as a pair?
Nobody.
Now, he didn't know specifically, but he had a good feeling about it. And they tried to play it off at first. They tried to play it off like, nigga, what you talking about? What you mean? And so he called a bluff. Now, why is this important? Why is this important? What did we find? What game does Blue like to play?
Poker.
Did y'all make the analysis?
Well, in poker, you got to be good at bluffing.
You got to be, because remember, he won in the poker game.
Right.
Bluffing.
You asked him, what did you have?
He just looked at him. That's right.
So now let's go back to the cop telling his ass, you know, he tried to get him at first. They was like, hey man, we don't know what the fuck you talking about. But then when that goddamn cop said, okay, motherfucker, I'm about to go call Mr. Pirelli. We gonna do this.
I'm gonna tell on you.
He called them motherfuckers bluff, and they turned over their goddamn hand. Okay, so there are parallels throughout the film that you got to see where they're going with the whole deal. So they show you the con is not as great of a con as he thought. But here's the thing. He said, well, shit, that motherfucker got me. So he said, let me go to my next. Let me go to plan B. So he excused himself to the bathroom. And at first I was trying to see what the fuck he doing.
What's he doing? Yeah, right. Because I couldn't figure that either.
But in order for him to feel comfortable, the cop feeling comfortable for him to be excused, he had to produce what? He had to show the money. He had to show some money.
Right.
So he put the money on the counter, and then he excused himself to go to the bathroom.
Oh, wait, but I thought he said he had his money in his clothes and he had to get it out.
Yeah, wait, he showed him that he did have money. He just didn't have all of it, readily available.
Now, and that was the part that really tripped me. I'm like, well, you gonna try to con this cop? Is you moving out of town? Because he gonna find out eventually and come get you. That part was it was weird to me. Like, okay, he gonna come back and get y'all. So I don't understand that.
Which puts you on the clock. So they were on the clock.
Yep.
Yeah.
Put it in his mind. Now, this could have been all absolved if they were willing to just do what?
Pay that man that $5,000.
Yeah, play ball. Yeah.
but he can't give him the $5,000 because that gets to Ken's point. Because he just had to break bread with another motherfucker. Because the other dude found out they got the money because you done set it off, saying shit, everybody got drained. So guess what? He now knows. You done came up on a score. So you need to pay me, nigga.
Right.
And he was a go-between with police, judges, entities like that, but he wasn't a cop, Brother Ken.
Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out who he was. I knew he wasn't the police, and
I was a judge or something.
Is he a lawyer? I was trying to figure out. He never revealed who he was to me. I couldn't figure out who exactly he was. He had some juice though.
This is showing you the power of this film, because there are people in the community Like there was a Negro here in Shreveport named Reverend Artist Cash. And he's from Shreveport, former heroin dealer. He went to LA, became a motherfucking bank robber, dope dealer. Then he brought his ass back as a preacher. Not real. This nigga was a go-between the grassroots community, the goddamn judges, the motherfucking sheriff, the DA, the marshal, and he ran hustle. Okay? He ran hustle. And so that was his job. These people exist in the community. Now, these are the old school. Now, the young people, they don't know how this shit works.
Right.
Now, in my position, although I have access to some of these people, I don't roll like that with it. But they got motherfuckers that actually roll like that. And they can put money in people's hands. As a matter of fact, there were two judges here in Shreveport. This reminded me, Brother Ken, of Judge Michael Walker and Judge Vernon Clayville. They were all a part, both of them were a part of a multi-agency investigation called Operation Broken Gavel. Operation Broken Gavel. It was Fed, it was Louisiana State Police, Sheriff, Police. And here's what they were doing now, Root. Let's say you kill a nigga and your goddamn bond is $500,000. Okay, Judge Clayville and Walker had connections with one of my partners, sorry ass Larry Williams, and this dude named Travis McCullough, who was a dope dealer, but he was also a federal informant, and this dude named James Bradford. They had a bail bonding agent. If a nigga, the word was out on the street, if you go to this bail bonding agency, they can get your goddamn bond reduced. So there were a few cats who I know from the hood who had committed some murders, $500,000 bond. That bond was then mysteriously dropped from $500,000 down to $50,000. Well, what's the difference in price? Well, 12% of goddamn 500,000 is 60,000, and 12% of 50,000 is 6,000. Well, how do you get a bond drop? You need a judge. So you go through this particular bail bonding agency, and they would give Michael Walker a kickback. Let's say Mike tell them niggas, give me 10 racks. Give me 10 racks, and I'll drop the goddamn bond at. Well, you say, well, shit, they still gotta pay. Hell yeah, the gangster knows you're gonna be taxed, but would you rather be taxed for 16,000 or 60,000?
Yeah.
Because the 16,000, 10,000 will go to the judge, 6,000 go to the bonds guy, so everybody gets paid. You get out, and now they're gonna talk your case up. And in this particular case, this partner of mine who I know, he walked on a goddamn murder.
Sure did.
His case was in Judge Michael Walker's court.
So, Brother Craig, I just asked you, can any judge lower the bail even if they're not the one who set the bail, or does it have to be the actual judge who set that bail?
Oh, it have to be the judge, but they got politics behind the scenes where if the judge ain't handling the case, who the hookup is through, he can go politic the judges behind the scenes to try to lower the goddamn money. That shit go on.
Yeah, and it's all based on relationships. You know, they all know each other. They all work together. Hell, the DA and the prosecutor go to lunch together, man.
That's right.
Exactly. So that's who that guy was, Brother Ken. He was at
Okay.
Okay. So Blue, of course, goes to the bathroom, and now he does the money belt, the envelope shit, and I mean, you know, I'm like, this motherfucker here, man. That's a high risk maneuver. And look, the whole premise was based on what?
Not wanting to pay the cop the money.
True, but he thought they would be able to get out of town because remember,
Right.
this is after the white boy that met with the rich white boys,
Right.
and which we're about to get into this thing. I just kind of jumped ahead of it, but it was all predicated on their ass being out of town the next day.
Yeah, just buying time.
Just buying time. That's a hell of a risky maneuver, like Naru said. So now we get to the part that Tara correctly says is the most profound part in the movie. And go ahead and show that clip, Brother Tamani.
Oh shoot! Okay, hold on. I forgot I was gonna be called on. Give me a second.
Yeah, I told you he was my AV guy.
Me forgetty. Talk about something else. Give me a second. I gotta go get it.
But anyway, he's about to get that. So this is, I mean, for the whole movie, I love the whole film, but to hear this in the film, oh my goodness. And who was it that brought out, was it you, Naru, the fact that the liberal and the conservatives are all at the table together?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did say that.
All of them working together, and this is what I try to teach these Negroes. This is all political theater. They work together, man. They eat together. Yeah. They children sleep together. They swap wives together. They do all kind of shit together.
Immediately, my mind went to Biden and Strom Thurmond.
Huh? Oh, isn't that something? Strom Thurmond, of all white people.
Yeah. Immediately, my mind went right there, and they were best of friends.
Isn't that something? And Biden is, of course, loved by black people. And Strom Thurmond was a staunch racist, publicly.
Staunch.
You talking about unapologetically racist?
Unapologetic.
That's a good point, Brother Ken. And what's sad, man, is that when these relationships are made public and are known, we black people, we continue to boogie on as if it's not the case at all. It's like, Jesus Christ, man, what's it gonna take?
Exactly. And Sister Fabu just made a real good point. All of these entities, these are the layers. The judges, the attorneys, the district attorneys, all of these individuals are working together to preserve it. Okay, here's the film. Here's the clip. This shit is profound.
Oh, hold on. I'll make sure I got the sound right. My bad. Give me a quick second. All right, here we go. Everybody can see the screen, yeah? Cool, all right.
Liberals who have lifted them up.
Y'all can hear it, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard. You liberals have let them invade our society.
Stop. See, the cracker figured it out. Look at what, without hope, the people become dangerous. Go back. Woo, God damn.
You liberals have let them invade our...
People become dangerous.
No,
Howard. People. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard. You liberals.
Do y'all understand what he's saying there?
You have to keep the bait on the hook. You got to keep that carrot in front of that donkey.
That was Obama's whole campaign platform.
Come on,
that was a hell of a marketing video. When those artists got together and made that video, man, that thing gave me vibes.
Sister Fabu asked, "Isn't that the white girl at the table?" Yes, Sister Fabu. Yeah. She had the relationship with white folks in the house, and because he had shown courage, the ability to protect, the ability to produce resources, the ability to have status and materialism, and then the R. Kelly 12 play motherfucking action. He's like, I'm going somewhere.
Oh yeah, she brought him into the inner circle, brother. Real quick.
Right.
You see? So what? So now, what this?
Wait. I have a question. The fact that, well, Brother Naru said she brought him into the circle real quick. does that mean that as brothers, as we do this thing, we got to really be on our game to get invited to the circle?
You got to be multifaceted. I'm
Yes,
just
sir.
gonna
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Naru. I'm going to go do some push-ups.
multifaceted.
Hey, you better watch it. Make sure your wife ain't listening back there.
She just left. I'm talking about her.
You gotta be more. Cause see, here's the thing. Go back to the title now. Trick baby. You see, this now they're showing you the trick. And what is the trick that they play? What is the trick? The trick of what?
Success, making it, everything is equal.
What's that? What's all that?
Hope.
Illusion.
There you go. Hope, God damn it. The trick of hope. Keep on going.
Liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Oh, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
Makes it even worse.
Oh, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has it. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. Thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
A nigger cracker. A nigger cracker. That's what my sister is. A nigger cracker. Bruh, that's got to be the greatest scene in the history. Bruh.
And like you said, have the black servers there doing it.
Right there.
Don't even care. Don't even care.
Man, I mean, I would have loved to have seen a conversation between them afterwards to see if they actually said anything about it or was going to give information back to the community. Like that's the missing part. But man, that was cold. Just to have them there, like listening to that, like, hey, y'all ain't batting an eye or flinching or nothing. It ain't even. That just like, man.
You know what's interesting, Brother Naru, is that in the spook that sat by the door, they did take that intel back.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, that's heavy. That's heavy. Very, and Brother Craig often says, he's asked me a few times, who is the most, I can't remember exactly how you phrase it, but who's the most important person in a company? And it's the secretary. And the executive secretary more than that, because and Sister Fabu will tell you this, because everything runs through her. She knows everything. And having a relationship with her opens up, what's really happening in the company. So that's a very
and
good point.
That's what I was about to say.
Point, Sister Fabu. Make that point.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. As a human resource professional, I would be at the table when things were about to go down in the company. And I would hear the names of those people who were about to lose their jobs, those people who thought that they were in with the man, and they would come to me. But y'all, I was really afraid. I had to pick the people I would give the information to. Some of them doggone people would get the information and go back and say, I know y'all finna find me, Sister Fabu. But of course, I was reading in. Rita told me. And so I had to be very careful what information I laid at their feet, because I was gullible. I wanted to run out, and I had to learn that the hard way. I wanted to run out and say, y'all, they're getting ready to do this. And your name is on it. But then I had guys like you guys that were around me that said, hold up, girl, hold up. Don't do that, because a lot of those are not Black people.
That's right.
That's right. Melanated Black people say it.
And you won't have a job. So I could understand when I saw them being, serving and everything, you have to come back then and parse that information and say, God, what am I going to do with this? Who am I going to tell?
Okay. Tara, Sister Fabu just gave a great deal with her being in human resources. You're within that major corporate realm too. Can you relate to that? What she just got through saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You have to figure out who you can and can't confide in. And just because they might look like me, that don't mean they are me.
That's right. All our skin folk ain't our kinfolk.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when I was in the
Absolutely.
military, I worked what was known as the command post, and we took not only inventory, but we monitored activity on everything on the installation, and everybody in there had to have top secret clearances and such. We were just that, the command post, the nerve center of that base. That's where all the battle staff formed. Whenever we went to a skirmish or whatever, the general of that base or the commander of that base would meet in that actual area. And we were right next door to the intel office, the vault. And I knew everything. When the exercises were going down, people used to come in, man, when we're going to exercise, I want to go out of town. I don't want to be ready, you know. No, and you could not, because it was top secret information. And so that really, you know, it didn't put a weight on me, because, you know, I was already, you know, never gonna tell, you know, because hey, I didn't want to end up down in Leavenworth or somewhere. But something as minute as to tell somebody when an exercise was going to go down was very vital. So, and all those people wore uniforms just like me, but you could never tell who was there just for the information to give to the enemy.
Yeah, I did the same thing when I was in the Army on a lower level. I was in S3 on the battalion level. So when we went to the field, I was in the top. So in the field, I was doing what you did, just on a lower level as far as commanding the battle and knowing what's happening with the people. So amen, brother. Very good point. I concur.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a powerful point. And so now, do you all see the importance of not only viewing a film, but really dissecting the film?
Breaking that thing down, man. Got to break that thing down. And it's heavy, Brother Craig, because it's like Sister Fabu says, whenever she's talking about the movies, she says she has to ask herself, well, did I see that movie? And I'm the same way. It's like you see a movie, and then we have a review, and then you say, man, did I see that movie? And the level of information that we receive and things that we're learning and the understanding that you provide for us, man, it's 6 of us on this call. So many of our people are missing out, and they think they know, but they really don't know. It's so much, man. We need at some point very soon, we need to have a online BCN University, because there's so much information on so many different levels. It's just heavy, man. It's heavy.
I was going to say that, Brother Tamani, then, because what happens is, you know, as a group of people, we still grieving. You know what I mean? We grieving slavery. Nobody was there at the shores to help us process all this stuff. So we suffering from cognitive dissonance. I mean, you know, and then we are psychologically sick, and we don't know it. And what happens is, like Jeremiah used to say to us all the time, or like that movie, Sleep with your eyes wide open, or something like that. Once you know something, you got to make a decision.
Who the hell is Jeremiah?
Oh yeah, okay. Reverend Albert B. Craig.
Thank you, sister.
Reverend Albert B. Craig Jr. Once you know something, you either have to put your head back in the sand and leave your ass up, or you got to do something.
Yes, ma'am.
And our people they know, and you can tell them all this, and they can come to the table, but they'll say, "Oh, that's just too much," and that cognitive dissonance kicks in.
Yes, ma'am.
And
that's almost a quote. That's almost a quote, Fundi. This is too much. You know, and that's an interesting point, because I had a sister most recently. Hopefully she'll see this. she completed the ambassador application, started her membership fee. So, you know, I do what I do, and I send her some documents that I do with every new person. So they'll know, okay, this is what we expect of you. This is what you're supposed to be doing to make it to the next phase, blah, blah, blah. And she came back to me, Fundi, and she said, oh, whoa, I don't want to do all this. And I'm like, well, why the hell you think we here? This ain't no country club, you know? So yeah, our people, this is too much. And I'm thinking, well, are we trying to survive or not?
Well, see, the fear is not gone. Now, Black people will move once the fear is gone. Remember, Reverend Clegg had a chapter in Black Christian Nationals, The Fear is Gone.
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
once the fear is gone, once we hit that tipping point where we realize, shit, I'm gonna die anyway.
That's
So I
right.
might as well go
That's right.
down standing up.
That's right.
Once
Exactly.
we hit that tipping point of the fear is gone, and that's like that sister said in that thing, white people better be glad Black people just want equality and not revenge.
Not revenge. That's right.
Once the
Exactly.
fear is gone, the game is over.
Yes, ma'am.
Exactly. And that's why this scene here is so important, because you got to give the people hope in order to maintain the fear. Because when you give them hope that I can get this job, I can get this car, I can get this house, now they're going to be always thinking about what the possibility of losing, what they possibly could lose.
Yep.
You see?
Yeah.
That's the game, man.
And if we fully understood the system, we will know that the system is not set up or built for everybody to quote unquote make it. Someone has to be exploited for this system to work.
Exactly.
And we don't get that. So we lie to our children saying you can be anything you want to be, and that's simply not true.
Because at the table, at the table, and I was aghast when I heard these white boys say this. When young guys would come in unmarried, they would be making all this money on the pipelines. Once they hired them, the next thing they say, now we just got to get him married, make that wife want a house, and we got him.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, they had a whole plan, and it was like the guy, and I'm sitting there at the table saying, I'm trapping these folks.
Yeah.
I mean, I was young, but I was taking in the information, and I say, I mean, and that was on the corporate level, so you know I can get it on the on what they really do federally.
That's right. I used to tell my kids from the you know, you can be anything you want to be in the world that we create. And that's a completely different thing as far as you can be president or whatever the hell. I'm like, no, man, you can be whatever you can be whatever as long as we build it with you in mind, because otherwise you lying to your child.
Exactly. Sister Prabhu, how many people have you shared what you just said? How many people have you shared that with?
Almost everybody I know that was in corporate America, and especially sisters. And you know why I did that once? Reverend Clegg, Jeramogi, I sat at his feet. I sat at his feet, and I almost thought he was Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And when I got ready to move on property, and I was married, and I said to him, I said, but Jeramogi, my husband don't want to do this. He wants us to get this house, and he said, just don't you want the house? I said, Jeramogi, what you mean? He said, just don't you want the house? Because if you want the house, then you're going to tie that brother up because he's trying to do what you want. And then I said, wow. He said, that's the trap, that the status, material, money, and materialism. And so me being so naive, I would try to tell everybody I know, don't fall for the cheese. Don't fall for the cheese. No, leave the cheese alone. The cheese is dangerous. Look. But no, it was like nobody was listening because they want this house, this picket fence, and 2.5 children.
That's what has been sold to them. And within that particular realm, a lot of the majority of our people will not have the opportunity of understanding or learning these things that you, myself, Tara, and a few others who had the good fortune to seeing how these crackers roll on that corporate level. And that's where the whole hope thing comes in. So we have to approach our people very strategically, because these white folks showing you, they strategize about individualism. And this is where this conversation really is about the so-called Black exceptionalism, which you now understand is melanated Negro pseudo-exceptionalism, because these people are not Black, they're melanated. They've been conditioned by the cracker mentally, so they're Negroes. And then they are given these opportunities based on not so much their talent, but their ability to fit in. And look at what the crackers say. We got to give them this because if these motherfuckers now stay in the community and learn how to basically become entrepreneurs, these motherfuckers become dangerous. So who is that individual of the 6 factions of African descendants? Who is that individual they talking about?
The melanated hybrid.
Exactly.
Because he can maneuver.
Grassroots hybrid. The melanated grassroots hybrid.
Damn it, that's what I meant. And it's funny. It's having been laid off a few times in corporate America, I got to the point. I was at my most active in the shrine, where a lot of people have their personal knickknacks on the desk. I got to the point that I didn't do that because in my head I knew that this is the white man's job. This is the white man's thing. At any time, no matter how valuable I think I am, this is his thing. And I guess at my most conscious state of that way of thinking, Halliburton, which is the 3rd largest driller of oil and gas and natural resources on the planet, 3rd largest company, they were my client at one time. So I was killing it. And at that time, my desk was, I had my backpack and that's it. Because if anything happened, and it did eventually happen, all of a sudden I wasn't needed anymore. I got my backpack and I walked out the damn door. Because I knew, and when black people talk about we, us, our, I'm like, Jesus. And a lot of black people believe that this is our country, this is our stuff. We can do this, we can do that. I'm like, nigga, you I'm praying for you.
Exactly. And so I want you all, Tamani has put that in the link. I really want you all to share that scene with as many of your family members and friends and have conversations with it. Try to get them to see the whole film if possible, but definitely if they don't see nothing other than that part and have conversations with them. I'm glad that Tyra did that with, who was that, Tyra Shelton or Schaefer, or both of them?
It was Schaefer.
Okay. So I'm glad that you did that because, hey, bruh, whether you are, if they get you to drop out of the learning process and become a hardcore savage, whether they get you to, exercise your physical gifts or your singing talents, or whether they get you to tap into your intellectual talent, if you do not embrace spirituality and right culture, bruh, they got you. They got you either way. They got you as a so-called productive citizen. They got you as an unproductive citizen. And the people don't understand that. And you got to be able to start to prick their mind with that. So,
that
Brother Craig,
that dinner scene is already parsed out of the movie. When I was looking for Trick Daddy, I came up.
right.
I came up on a YouTube video that just had that. I think it's about a minute or something, and it says the dinner scene from Trick Baby.
Yeah.
So that link because somebody has already taken that out of it and put it on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
It's in the chat. The link is in the chat. Go ahead, Naru.
So I was going to say, so Iceberg Slim, the brother who wrote that,
yes, sir.
It sounds to me as if he had some inside information from somebody who was at one of those meetings who came and kicked back to him, because otherwise, how would he get that information and how would he know and define that scene so well? It seemed as if he must be privy to somebody who was at one of them, some black maid or waiter or somebody might have been at one of them tables and did come back and talk.
Iceberg Slim could have been blue.
And what Iceberg Slim was blue.
Yeah.
And then some more.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about being blue, though. I'm talking about being somebody who was at that meeting with them white folks talking. Somebody had to be there and give him that information, or either he just was a prophet.
No, I totally agree, and what you're saying is correct. And this is why I said what I said in the beginning, because the pimp, remember that, he is considered to be the greatest pimp in this country.
That's right.
So that put him in different spaces with judges, with lawyers, with police officers. You see what I'm saying? So, and then when you start to understand the importance of gaining intel he probably, like myself, understanding one of the things that I'm going to do, and this is what I was telling Tamani, the receptionist and secretary and the janitors, these are the goddamn most powerful goddamn people in any goddamn corporation, because all the information comes through their hands before they get to the goddamn other folks. Okay, the information comes through them. They ass don't know what the fuck to do with it because they just working a job.
Right, and that highlights the importance of what we were talking about earlier, Brother Craig. Understanding that the iceberg slims, the pimps, the prostitutes, the hoes, the gangsters, whatever, they have a level of intellect, a level of understanding, a level of cognitive development that can be used if they are plugged into a system that allows them to have spirituality, right? Culture, education, and the other three pillars. Now, imagine from what Brother Ken just said about what he did when he was in the military on that level. What if we had 10 Brother Kens operating on that level with that expertise, and we're running 30, 40, 50 geographic spaces in this country? Man, everything we need, we already have. We're just not connected, and we don't understand it.
Well, I'm glad y'all explained that, because I'm still confused of what that brother, I mean, and this is the version of the movie that I looked at, and it was just before the guy went into the movie. The guy in the green, the pimp, that was doing all that talking with all the gold in his mouth, and he was talking about, if I got your hoe, I'm gonna let you know I got. What part? I mean, I didn't connect that with. I mean,
with the movie.
I don't understand why. I mean, I know he was telling the pimp game, or some. I mean, he lost me because I didn't know what role he was fulfilling.
See, so that's what I'm saying. So that's an intro of the guy whose channel this is. He was giving you different clips from interviews, movies, to set the stage for the movie Trick Daddy. So that particular individual right there was indicative of Iceberg Slim. Because Iceberg Slim was a high profile, awesome ass pimp. But here's the thing: I want you to read about it.
Right.
Iceberg Slim, actually, his mother was on a beauty shop.
Yeah, she's a business owner. Yeah.
And so she was a business owner. So they lived a so-called middle income existence in between Chicago and like Milwaukee area, Evanston area. So guess what he was supposed to turn out doing early in his life when he graduated from high school?
Go to college?
He was supposed to go to college.
Yeah, and actually he did for a little while.
Went to Tuskegee. Yeah. But guess what he did while he was in Tuskegee, in Alabama, Sister Fabu?
What did he do, pimp?
Run game.
Run game.
Run game. Run game.
He was selling moonshine.
And got the boot.
And got the boot. So think about it. He was coming to Alabama from Chicago. So he had already been influenced by the hustlers in Chicago. So he was like, fuck this goddamn school shit. I like the street thing. But this dude was brilliant already. Okay?
Yeah, say that again. Say that again. Genius.
Yeah, that dude was brilliant. So he had a mouthpiece on it, and he had the ability to write. This dude wrote, Ken brought out what the movie grossed. The movie grossed over 11 million, produced for 600,000. But what Ken didn't hit on, Iceberg Slim wrote 6 books.
Yeah.
Fabu, this dude sold over 6 million goddamn copies of his goddamn book, yo. Okay, so the intro to the movie, the guy is giving credence to Iceberg Slim with the pimp thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he is the source of why the white boys made the film. The film is made off of the novel Pimp. That's what the movie is based off of. And he then came out with the shit Trick Daddy. I mean Trick Baby. So this was an overall term. So that's what all that gets into.
And
that
you
means
know,
we ought to look at all those books by Donald Goins and all of those guys out of Chicago. You know,
Exactly.
I think he ended up in the trunk at the airport somewhere, didn't he, Donald Goins?
Yeah.
And you know what's powerful about everything we're discussing, and what Brother Craig brings. We absolutely must position ourselves to take over small geographic land masses in this country, because like we were able to experience Sister Babu living on the property in the community, right in the Black community, living in the space that Black people own and control. If we can't remove our people from the slave culture element where they currently live, then when the iceberg slims are born, and I say this all the time, when the iceberg slims are born, when the Donald Goinses are born, when the Malcolm X's, the Martin Luther Kings, the Harriet Tubman, when all of these powerful Black spirits are born, if we can't remove them and put them in a different environment, not just a different neighborhood, but a different environment completely, some geographic land masses, then we're always going to lose out to the slave culture system that has been created for us to exist in. So it does us no good to have a iceberg slim. That's a natural genius. If we can't find a way to develop and grow that genius so that he's making us as a people better, because he will always be scooped up and swallowed up and chewed out by the system. He's always going to become a pimp or whatever the hell, because he realizes this is some bullshit. This is a game. I'm gonna run my own game. And I'm gonna risk my freedom. I'm gonna risk my life. But fuck this bullshit, because this is a game. And they are intelligent enough to see the bullshit. But they have no other righteous alternative, which is why our existence is so important, because we can provide not only that righteous alternative, but brother, everything you want, you can have, and you don't have to jeopardize your life to get it. And it's wide open for us to take.
The sad part about it is that it leads you back to the film from last week.
Yep.
They have a jump. They have a jump.
It's a system, Brother Ken. Yes, sir.
They have a jump on that system because they start early.
Yeah.
Before we can even get a chance to identify who's who. And by the time we identify the talented and the gifted amongst ourselves, they've already got a foothold on these people, you know, and at a young age in their development stages.
Yeah, that's why we had to create an environment and system where they can never get their hands on our children, Brother Ken. Never. Because like you just said, that once they get their hands on the children, and which is the future, you know, checkmate, Sister Fabu.
I was gonna say that's what one of your morning meditations said. I think it was Malcolm or somebody said the fruit falls from the tree and then rolls so far from it, all the bruises and everything that life puts on it, you can hardly recognize the fruit anymore.
Yeah. That's a morning meditation that you said I should make one. I hadn't
done
that.
You did. No, I said that you did.
Not yet. I need to.
Could you all imagine if Brother Craig was flipped into one of those categories that these people were talking about, one of our smart ones?
What do you mean?
You know,
what do you mean?
I mean, with all the spirituality and the backing of the 6 pillars.
If he went to the dark side.
Yes. Yes,
that's
brother.
What I thought he meant if he went to the dark side.
You know what, Brother Ken?
Exactly.
You know what, Brother Ken?
That would be devastating.
We don't have to necessarily. Well, yeah, it would be, but we'll have to he'd be fucking Darth Vader. We don't have to necessarily imagine that because I believe that although they don't have everything that Brother Craig brings, that's a given. But I think when we see a gang leader, when we see a drug dealer on a certain level, and we were talking about this morning, Brother Craig had me review the brother who what's it called, Brother Craig? Rukan? El Rukan. So we have people, Brother Ken, that operate on a very high level. But they don't have the spirituality, the culture, and they understand the bullshit. They're trying to make it, and of course they do dirt to make it. So we see glimpses of it. It's just not connected to you know the righteousness and the spirituality and the culture. And on the flip side, we see that in the Malcolm X, we see it in the Martin Luther King, but they don't have the money, status, and materialism, so they can never do anything. They talk good and make sense, but they can never really do anything. So
they're always missing at least one pillar.
Always, and that's usually the spiritual. There's usually the spiritual pillar, and if they have that, they don't have the economics to go along with it in the politics.
And I think that's where my son lies. He has all of those, but he doesn't have the economics, and he out there in this world. Oh,
Yes,
I'm
he
gonna
does.
start crying.
Yes,
I'm
he
not
does.
gonna talk about that. I'm not
Yes, he
gonna talk
does.
about it. 'Cause
But it's a good reference point, Sister Fabu, and what you know, and I want Tamani to type this into the screen as well for you all to study Noah Robinson Jr. Because if y'all don't know who he is, you need to study up on him. But that's Jesse Jackson's half brother. That's Jesse Jackson's biological father's namesake, Noah Robinson Sr. And that dude there is a graduate of Wharton School of Business. Hear me, goddammit. University of Columbia, Wharton School of Business. His ass is in jail for life because back in the late 60s, early 70s, partner, they was teaching the goddamn Gangster Disciples, the Peastone Rangers, the El Rucon. They were doing 501c3s back in the goddamn late 60s, early 70s. And they were running the game. And so this dude is so goddamn dangerous. He and Larry Hoover, they ain't letting them get out because not only do those guys have influence, they got the intellect. And but these cats, I mean, it's on a whole nother level. So yeah, Ken's point is well taken. I've often thought about that. If the Creator then blessed me automatically out the gate with spirituality and the connection to right culture out the gate, it's just a part of my pedigree. Yeah, I would be a dangerous.
And you know, Brother Craig, that, and God damn it, this is why we got to get people to pay attention to what we're doing. The Revolutionary Code this past Thursday, goddamn 2 nights ago, we talked about this white dude, Tony Shea, billionaire, on the right path, think differently, gets taken out in a house fire. Because he did not realize, he did not understand, just like Gary Webb in Kill the Messenger, Barry Seal in American Made, they did not understand the system that they were a part of. They didn't understand the game, the brutality, the gangsterism. If they had, then they would have had security around them, multiple layers, because they understand that these gangsters that I'm dealing with, they play on a different level.
Yeah.
And we absolutely must understand as a movement, as an organization, that when we have, and I'm not saying this to give you the big head, because your head is big enough. When we have a Craig Lee, we got to put multiple layers of security around people like him, because he brings, like he just said, Noah Robinson, the brother who started the gang. What'd you say?
Larry Hoover.
Larry Hoover. They can't let them out.
Yeah, they can't.
Because if they let them out, then you got you got Malcolm X, goddamn Bumpy Johnson, you know, in the same person, right? So that's why they had to make sure that the Panthers did not link up with the gangsters.
Yeah,
because you got a movement that's charismatic, that has leadership, that understands politics, and they got some hitters.
Yeah,
right. So that's why it's so important that we study and understand what's been done, so that we really can build upon that, but not make those same mistakes.
Yeah, and that's
brother. When you say security, is there really enough security to put around anybody to stop them?
No, because no one can match America's military might. However, they got their asses kicked by the Vietnamese. They got their asses kicked by people in Afghanistan. Why? Because they were operating on the grassroots level and they weren't afraid to hit back. Of course, gun to gun, we cannot win. However, we can put glass in the oatmeal if we know how the fuck to make the mixture.
Come on now.
Guerrilla warfare. It's called
every day,
warfare.
all day, and we already black.
And that is the piece, Brother Naru. It's not, the security is not going to prevent you from ultimately being killed.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you unequivocally, when I made the decision 25 years ago to leave corporate America and set out on this journey, it was the Martin Luther King quote that resonated with me when he said,
"Come on,
a man who is not willing to die for something ain't fit to live." That's when I asked myself the question, you know, Negroes are dying for sex, money, status, materialism, bullshit.
Bullshit.
What am I willing to die for? And that's when I said I'm willing to die for the same reality that my former freedom fighters were willing to die for. The liberation, empowerment, upliftment, advancement of our people. And that's when I left. I don't know too many 28-year-old people in corporate America. I was a pharmaceutical sales rep. Tara has been in the pharmaceutical game. She's a doctor of pharmacy. I don't know too many people who would, especially African-American males. And at that time, I was one of no more than 300 in the entire world with all pharmaceutical and medical sales corporations, hospital sales. I don't know too many who would leave a $70,000 job at the age of 28 and you know, within the top realm. But I knew that the Creator had something else in store for me. And I knew that even at that time, I didn't know all of the particulars as to how it would come out, but I knew that Shreveport was going to be the catalyst for this prototype. Way before I met you and Tamani and Sister Fabu and Tyra and Ken. And that's how Ken and I connected, because I started doing this work. And I didn't have no gun, you know what I'm saying? And I remember the first time I heard somebody say what Tamani just said in 1996. And these niggas started talking about, we got to provide security for you. And that shit was some uncomfortable shit. Somebody talking about going to the club and being around me. Nigga, I'm from the goddamn street. So I'm like, nigga, I don't need your ass around my mother. And I ain't have no gun, brother, no, for real. But, and I battled the entire city leadership, Ken will tell you. So there is no fear. But what you want to do, yes, I know I'm pledging my life for this. And that's why when people say, Craig, sometimes you may be insensitive to some of these punk ass people. It's because I'm in this shit for real. I don't have time to listen to bullshit. You know, if your punk ass ain't got skills, don't front like you got skills. So that's why my tolerance on that shit is very, very low, right? And so when the Creator has blessed me to be able to help my folks begin to cipher through this shit, because this shit is so complex. As I've even, been teaching Tara, and she'll tell you, Tara, what do you say when I go over all this shit with you?
What you mean? What do I say?
In terms of the complexity.
Oh, it's just too much. It's just too much.
She in corporate America now. She ain't no motherfucker that's got bad comprehension problems.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming.
It's very overwhelming, because I understand what you're saying about having somebody around you all the time, because even on the smallest level in the shrine, whenever I had to bring the message that morning or whatever, the Maccabees always came to pick you up and take you to the church and bring. I mean,
wait. What the hell is a Maccabee? What is this language you using, woman?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I act like everybody know what I'm talking about, right?
I think we got the gist of it.
They were security. They were the security of the shrine security force, and I would be half ready, and they sitting out there waiting. Like, I know how to get from across the street to the church. Why y'all gotta be with me? And then they walking in with you, and you're like, well, wait a minute, y'all. And then they tell you, well, Sister Fabu, you can't leave this building until a Maccabee can go with you. And I'm like, well, y'all wasn't out there when I drove up. And they said, well, we rely on you to assess the scene when you come into it. But you don't know what's happening when you go out. So we have to, and it became bothersome to me. It was like, y'all are in my way. Get out the, so, I mean, yeah, we gotta be, we gotta be indoctrinated on what's the importance of having all of that. And then being able, see, what scares me is, hell, you my pote, but wasn't the people who was closest to Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, they security people?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's why we got to hit them 6 pillars.
Now, with brother Craig, I'm blessed enough to be in the same city as he is. little did he know, but I'm pretty sure in some of our latter conversations here recently, he probably kind of picked up on it spiritually, that I've been watching his back,
Yeah.
you know, because I'll come to him with a conversation and it's totally, you know, from a neutral standpoint where it's never, definitely no haterism or nothing, but I'll tap him about something that that I see, you know, as he's vetting these people that are immediately around him. The term in the Christian church is called armor bearers. Same thing Sister Fabu was alluding to, which is a spinoff of the FOI.
Gotta have it, baby.
Okay,
Gotta have it.
and when I'm in any assembly where he is, you know, even in his Tuesday morning breakfast, I'm picking up on the sensitivity spiritually of what I see in the crowd around him.
Yep.
You know, and in that way, I watch my brother's back.
Yeah, yeah. We have
and
to.
sometimes I'm strapped, but nobody never know that.
Well, they know now because this is gonna be seen by millions.
That's fine. That's fine. That'll make them think twice.
Yeah, amen. As they should, brother. As they should.
The word.
Is it just me, or did Kenneth just remind you of Denzel Washington right there? He was on some. He was like.
It's got to be that way though, bro, because I see such an asset in my brother that and where he's coming from, you know, at the level in which he's at, you know, because I tell anybody, you know, I'm some significantly older than he is, but I learned from this brother, and the things that saved my life was getting into the learning of my culture. Yeah. That's what pulled me from the street. I was a street head, you know, I was out there, man, you know, I mean, I just helping destroy our people. But just learning about knowledge of self, that changed everything, you know, and the spirituality was already embedded to a point, but all that got elevated once I started learning who I was and what my mission in life was.
Amen.
So I'm glad to be of service to the brother at any point. But yeah, I watch his back, and I'll bring it to him what I see with that third eye working. I say, man, I see this, you know, and we talk about that all the time.
Right. Yeah. Siddharth about to say something?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I kind of snickered when he mentioned armor bearer, because Craig and I talked about that not too long ago. I was like, you know, I'm your armor bearer when you're around because I'm always packing. And he may have his with him, but it's in a car, it's in the seat. He might have left it. I mean, it's just like, bruh, come on now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I got you, Brother Ken. When he's in Houston, I'm like, I try to keep my head on the swivel with him and make sure that we're at least both, you know, in a position to protect ourselves, because it's real.
Right. Yeah, that's
exactly.
Right.
And he don't be paying attention.
I know. He just be talking.
Yeah, and Brother Naru, you know, like I said, your point is well taken, because we're dealing with people who take out heads of state.
Hell yeah.
So you're absolutely correct, but I can tell you the connection, and Tamani referenced it this past Thursday. The other connection with these cats, other than probably Patrice Lumumba, these cats are not operating. I'm just being honest. Even Malcolm wasn't operating on the spiritual level that I'm operating on. When that religiosity is there, you can't see as clear as what's going on, and when these people are in your ear, and you know they're connected to you, and you haven't had a chance to really vet them in different situations, yeah, it's easy to get set up, and so that's why you got to see films like this so you can understand the underworld that is out here, okay, and I. Although I'm connected with it and I've learned from it, I've never been a part of it. And I just delivered some meat pies the other day to this cat, and he is best friends with my little stepbrother. My stepbrother is one of 13 that just got picked up on a federal probe. And Tara had a chance to meet him, and he was having me coming over playing domino. But they out here, you know, Ken will tell you, man, I mean, this shit reverberated around all of Northwest Louisiana. They still in jail right now, right? But hey, he my stepbrother, but I don't fuck around with that shit. I don't uphold I don't uphold no family member, no classmate, no anybody who was rolling in that realm. But I'm cool with them, right? So they have respect for me. I have respect for them. But when we got to sit down and talk about moving the city of Shreveport, the parish of Caddo forward, I have to understand how all of this shit plays together. And Malcolm had an understanding of it, as you see in the show, Godfather of Harlem. But it's like when he got into the nation, he just kind of, it's kind of like he purged himself of, not everything that you acquire in the streets from these cats is bad. You need to learn some of this shit because this is where the rubber meets the road in capitalism, bro.
Yeah, but see that's part of the game, brother Craig, because we believe that we got to leave all of that behind. Now understanding that the game is the street. Shit.
The game is the street, and that's why when Don Corleone was constantly trying to go legit, finally in Godfather Part 3, shit, they learned that Don Lucchese, who is representing the corporate shit, they using the corporate shit as a simultaneously while they're in the street goddamn game with the goddamn cocaine. They just never touched the product, right? So this shit is very, very complex, and I do understand why it is so overwhelming. But for those of us who have the potential, and Naru, you are one of those people who have that great potential to do this hybrid shit. Ken, everybody on this phone call, we're hybrid, right? But the majority of our people are not that. So before y'all got on the call this morning, Tamani was like, Craig, tell me about this timeline. I'm thinking 5 to 10 years, but you said 2 to 3. What are you talking about? And I'm talking about 2 to 3 for the hybrid to leverage the money status and materialism, the land, everything that we got to leverage, because those of us who are hybrid, we're the ones who will format the game plan to tapping into that 20% goal of Black disposable income over these next 5, 10, 20 years. But we got to be independent, solid with our resources, and our families got to be solid within this overall thing. Because you can't try to save the entire population before the brain trust is in solid. And that's what has happened with a lot of grassroots advocates, hence why they become poor righteous teachers. But it ain't no valor in that, because these niggas will sell you out on the streets, lickety split. So I embrace all the obstacles that have been placed before me over the past 25 years and over the past 35 years of me being on this path, but the 25 learning all this shit in the city of Shreveport and the parish of Caddo. And it helps me to help you guys wherever you're at throughout the country. And when I see a film, I can see all the layers of it. And I say, damn, that's going to be the best way that I can help other people.
That's right.
Because this shit is too complex. I'm not going to push it.
That's right.
You got to be able to see a dirty cop in a movie. Because if I told you that this is how this shit rolls for real, you wouldn't believe that shit. You have to at least see it in a movie, because if you ain't meeting these motherfuckers, because I'm connected with I'm connected with the FBI, the motherfucking state police, the marshal, the local sheriff. I got relatives in all that shit. But nigga, I tell them, my cousin with the FBI, I told him, I said, before the feds come get me, man, at least give me a heads up.
At least give me a white chicken.
I know they gonna send Craig. I wouldn't do you. Nigga, shut the fuck up. That's your ass.
Yeah.
Queen of the South, Babu. I'm up on that Queen of the South. It got a little twisted over the past couple of seasons. Ken turned me on. Like, Ken will turn me on to shit. One of the films that we're gonna be watching in the coming week is Plutocracy. 1 and 2. this is a film that Ken put, oh, this shit here so gangster. I mean, it ain't no movie. It's a documentary of how the philosophy, system, and game of capitalist white supremacy. As a matter of fact, fuck American Gangster next week. We're gonna do plutocracy.
It's a two-part documentary.
It's really four parts, and it's totally free on YouTube. Yeah, 4 parts. But which parts you want to focus on? Well, you got to start with one anyway.
Yeah, we got to start with one because they got to see this shit. And these crackers, bruh, these crackers lay this shit out about the crack.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about they lay it out from the onset, from the outset of America, and how this labor, gangster, all this shit really works. Not from no movie, but from straight up documentary. It's a motherfucker. So we'll do that plutocracy one in that. But let me go and just finish up the last little part of this, because that's the biggest part, that movie scene, the dining scene. But of course, white folks runs to the bar to let them know about the hustle. They encounter the corrupt cop. They run the little hustle and go put the package in the post office. So now they're on the clock, because like Naru is saying, you know, you just bought a little time. But the thing that I also wanted you all to focus on, this is why this shit is so heavy. Folks had to end with the white girl. Now she done brought him in, but he can't elevate the hustle, the con, because his mentor is a low-level con.
Right.
He ain't a sophisticated con, right? So they're gonna take this 90,000, which could have easily been millions of fucking dollars. But guess who they weren't connected to? City councilmen, county commissioners,
politics,
school board, none of the politicians. They weren't connected to anybody who was working in community development or economic development, right? So their hustle was strictly on a superficial level, and the little con can only get you so far, because the land hustle, what they were really showing you, is how these white folks run the real hustle. See, that opportunity zone, we can be in that hustle, but you got to have some seed money. So I thought that was very profound within that. And of course, now the white boy, they come to the so-called office, and they want to see the space. So now they take them, and again, they make an investment. You got a dump truck, moving dirt. They done paid for all this shit, right?
Gangster.
The con real. They make the con real. And so now they get back to the office, because now the white boys are seeing that, okay, this is tangible, but now, okay, they, in their limited mind, it's like, shit, we ready to get to 90. But look at what the white doctor said. Okay, well, shit, these ain't no goddamn deed. This just motherfucking promises to pay. This ain't the real paperwork.
That's right.
But they've been used to dealing with low-level people, so now you got to up your game. But then he came up with a flip, the storage box. So white folks was going to represent their interests, because they still don't know that they one and the same. So boom, you cool. But now, and this was some bullshit. The dude is, you know, the Negro cop stops them before they can get to the bank. I get it. You got to figure out a way where they can't get the money out before 3, because then it'll, you know, get flipped. But needless to say, that was the essence of everything. Of course, he gets shot. They do the run through and everything.
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask. Who was the dude that wanted to shoot white folk? You know, who told him we're gonna share this money together? He was a politician?
No, he was another mark. See, so what they were showing you, that's how they would operate on a daily level. right? Because now they can't get the money out, so they just flowing. So they seeing this dude and they're saying, "Oh, that's a mark. Let's go run this hustle on his motherfucking ass." So, but what they didn't know about him, his ass was accustomed to being a killer.
He was a killer.
Right? So that's why he came to him and say, "Look, this is what we gonna do. When that cracker come back, I'm gonna bust a cap in his motherfucking head." And he showed him the weapon because he's like, "Hey, motherfucker, I done killed white folks before, so you ain't got to worry about it. Shit, they ain't scared." So now the hustle done got real. You know?
Oh, okay.
Uh-oh.
Okay. I couldn't figure out who he was. I was like, where this man come from?
Yeah,
Okay.
he was just somebody that was in the movie to show you their daily routine, which is really a stupid motherfucking routine if you gonna be in the same goddamn city, cause you running shit like that, man. Somebody gonna put the cap in your ass sooner or later.
Yeah, it's gonna catch up with
I'm
you.
saying. Hey, brother Craig, I just want to just point out that the fact that blue and white folks, I'm assuming blue taught white folks the game, that he was astute enough to know that these white dudes would fall for this land grab thing, man. That was kind of masterful. Like they had to have some inside information, or I don't know if they had ever run a con like that before, but to be able to have that type of con in place and have those resources and know what to move on, it sounded like they had some intellect. Like you said, but they just was missing that other part. Because man, if you know that the white folks are doing this in your community already, otherwise, how would they be able to run that con? That's what I wanted to point out.
Look here, bro. When I saw that shit, I was like, man, white folks is on it, but they've been accustomed to doing a small con, and it's like, I think because remember now, he had a separate crib. See, he had a life outside of what old boy knew about, Blue knew about. Because remember, when he got to that apartment, his apartment, old girl was there.
Yeah.
Well, he said, "How you get in here?"
Exactly. He said, "How you get in here?"
Yeah.
Right? Blue didn't know about that shit. So what I'm saying to you, white folks had some curriculum going on a higher level than motherfucking Blue, but it kind of like, he kind of revealed where it came from, because where was white folks from?
What do you mean? Where
from? Huh?
I thought he was from right there.
Nah, he's from Chicago.
No, I thought he was just running game when he said he was from Chicago. I thought he was just running game.
That was his home. He's from Chicago.
Okay.
Where was Blue from?
The South.
Exactly. He's a country boy. He's a country boy.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying to you, white folks was already naturally inclined to kind of like be connected on. He kind of like had it a little bit in his motherfucking DNA, so to speak, and he probably was learning things that Blue never did learn based on Blue's upbringing versus his upbringing. You see what I'm saying? So he probably was skilled enough to be around white conversation in order for that to happen.
Well, he definitely could pass.
He could pass. And if that was done on a higher level, bruh, I mean, that's an opportunity zone game hustle right there. And that was the other thing. You don't have movies with that kind of storyline being made in the 21st century.
Right.
These cats were coming up with very good plots, although they were so-called black exploitation films. They were coming up with some pretty goddamn creative plot within the construct of the film.
Yeah, I thought it was very.
No,
I thought it was very interesting. That will still work today. When they shot Blue, and one of the other guys that came out of the bar said, "Well, is that his partner?" And the other guy said, "No, he a nigga just like him." I mean, they still play that game today. I mean, they wouldn't even recognize that, and which is why Blue said they were so silly that if they understood the game, they would be running it better than us. And I thought it was interesting that they say, no, that's not him. He's a nigga just like he is.
Yeah, and that we can see that dynamic in American Hustle with Denzel Washington, because they refuse to believe that a black man could operate on that level above the Italians. So
Right.
it's not just them declaring us inferior. They believe that we are inferior, which could work to our benefit if we understood what was what.
That cracker said in American Gangster, what the fuck are you talking about? Ain't no goddamn nigga got some shit greater than the goddamn mafia. You out your damn mind.
Right.
Now you go inside of that film, you learn that my boy Frank Lucas lied about a lot of that because he was a small part of that shit. You read about that cat Sergeant Smack. He was the real one that was doing that import export from overseas up in that motherfucker. But that's a whole nother deal. But needless to say, that is the gist of the film. Blue. One other thing I want to point out. White folk had a better understanding, and Tyra hit on this in terms of the rest of the philosophy. I guess you say the con man's code.
Yeah.
Tyra hit on that as he's dying, but throughout, when they figured out, when white folks figured out, hey man, we gotta get the fuck up out of here. White folks was constantly restating the code that Blue had taught. But he didn't want to roll with the code. Why he didn't want to roll with the code, Naru?
Because he never thought he would ever have another come up that big again, brother.
Exactly.
He thought that was it for him. And white folks figured he could do it again and again.
Exactly. Well, that's the boy, Naru. You're a pretty smart ass dude, brother. You damn.
And that points back to, like you say, the areas in which they came from. Coming from Chicago, he understood the general danger of the mafia. Period. You're messing with the mafia now, man. And Blue coming from the country, he thinking, like you say, that's it. This is my lick,
Well, yeah, I mean, Blue was ready to die for it, and he did. You gotta give him that. He put he was ready to die for that last con, So, but if he would have stuck with white folks, they probably would have been running all kind of shit.
Exactly.
And now we find out, similar to a goddamn good old Christian, what was Blue's greatest accomplishment gonna be in his life?
To go ride out in the casket, and he had paid for his funeral, and he had paid. I tripped off of that too. Like, man, this is what you think about? They gonna remember me. I'm gonna be in this. You laid out. I'm like, really?
Even the con man is fucked up with Christianity like a mother.
Damn shame.
The con man is like, partner, them motherfuckers gonna see me laid out. I done paid for my pre-need, but I'm gonna be sure. Like, God damn.
Yeah. So your greatest goal in our accomplishment is how you treat it when you die.
Exactly.
Diamond in the back, sun rooftop.
Okay.
Dig in the scene with a gangster lean.
And the sad part about it. The sad part about it, to the opposite end of the spectrum, a lot of our young melanated youth want to go out and go blaze of glory. Yeah, they're willing to die in the streets, and they state that, and that's what they stand on. I'm gonna be the gangster that went out and look at me, my top of the world type mentality.
And what's even sadder than that, Brother Ken, is before they get to that quote unquote blaze of glory, they pride themselves on a rites of passage is me being locked up in the white man's cage.
Ooh, I was gonna say that. I lived that experience with my son. I watched them feed themselves to the system and then come back to school like they had done something.
Exactly.
I mean, and I was trying to tell myself, man, you ain't done shit, but give yourself to them. But I think that's one of the reasons him and I have this estranged relationship, because I've talked to him just like that. You know what I mean? But they come back like they would. I thought, I mean, now what's wrong with you guys? Him and all of his little partners, they felt like they hadn't accomplished anything until they had at least gone to jail and came back to tell others about it.
And that's it.
Hey, it's real though. It's real. When
no doubt.
When I was in high school and I was doing some dirt. I ain't gonna sit up and lie to you. I went to juvenile hall, and when I came back, I was treated like a motherfucking celebrity.
That's right.
I'm like, are you fucking kidding? For me, it was a turning point. I'm like, I don't never want to be in this shit again. That's what made me get out of the game. That's right. But when I came back to school, I mean, people who ain't never even talked to me, I never even spit in my direction, was coming up hollering at me, and I was I had got snitched on, so they knew I was coming to look for this cat, and they was like, oh man, yeah, he done this and the other, and we got your back, and I'm like, well, I ain't even never I don't know y'all cat. It was crazy to me, man. Bro. It was crazy. No, I'm just telling you the real.
It's a slave culture, man. It is a slave culture. It is a slave culture.
And then on another note, we talking about Blue wanting to go out here in Oakland. We had a couple of gangsters go out, and Felix Mitchell was the biggest dope dealer in East Oakland.
Yeah, I saw
he
that.
went out on a horse-driven carriage down, we call East 14th International Boulevard now, and I mean, everybody was out there to see this shit, even though he done fucked up the community, poisoned it, hella people got killed. I mean, it was on the fucking news.
Yeah, bro.
You understand me? On the news channel, they reported.
He's considered to be one of the American gangsters.
Oh no, he is without a doubt.
I saw the special on him. Yeah, I saw the
and him and Huey used to go at it.
Yeah.
Him and Huey went at it because Huey was Huey wasn't no punk.
Nah,
he wasn't scared of the dope dealers, and he went at Felix Mitchell, and they had some beef going on out here.
Yeah. And what Naru is talking about, for all of y'all, if you haven't watched any of the segments that started on BET called American Gangster, I suggest that you check those segments out, because Felix Mitchell is one of those segments. And what he's saying is absolutely correct. They become folk legends, so to speak, in the hood. And the only other institutions that's remotely close to having that type of rite of passage in our community, but it never works for people to be uplifted, is the military.
Yes, sir.
Right?
I was just about to say that.
Other than the military, that's it. But the military, ain't nobody gonna be celebrating you and shit. But that goddamn prison, shit, them motherfuckers throw parties for your ass. When you ain't nobody throwing no party for no motherfucker come back from Desert Storm.
Well, we got the sports arena. That's another people elevate your status when you're good at sports.
Yeah, but that's in the entertainment. Not too many people are gonna be able to get into that.
Oh, I got you. Right.
Where you have a mass deal where it's a rite of passage, people in and out, and it what Naru said is definitely the case. It is that prison industrial complex, and it's a crazy shit as to how they rock and roll it. But I wanted to make sure that we pointed out that white folks had more understanding and belief in the philosophy and the code that Blue taught him, but Blue was blinded by that big score. He was totally
and it wasn't that big. And it wasn't that big.
But in his mind, I got to have it.
Oh, sure, yeah. Considering where he came from, I'm sure it was a lot of money.
Well, shit, in 1972, man, $100,000 was something big back then. That might have been over $1 million right now.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, good point.
You gotta remember the time frame of that. And then he ain't really never had nothing. I think that $10,000 lick might have been the biggest one they had before that. I don't really know. That one they had just ran, because he just bought, white folks, kind of like he would just bring them into the game. And that might have been the first white mark that Blue ever had. He might have, like Craig was saying, he was running small com before, but he got Trick Baby and shit. He can run, he can run that game on the white folks.
Exactly. And then the last couple of points, Tamani hit it in terms of the preacher, how Blue was able to shift gears because the preacher already committed, although they knew the preacher. Blue knew the preacher. The preacher wasn't trying to get involved in no shit. So you look at the narrative that Blue was able to, what we call in sales, spin. He put that spin in there, and he related the story to two cats that the preacher knew from their hometown. And within that dynamic, he was able to get him exactly where he wanted him, so they could hold on to the morning. And then he was able to use his vehicle, and they used, of course, the vehicle because they knew that they would hit him spot on if they saw him in the Cadillac. So, and then of course everything plays out with him going into the bar, and he finds his wife. I thought that was very interesting because he tries to get her to come with him, and she called his name out, and of course the mafia guys are in there and they take him out. And then to Sister Fabu's point, it's like shit, this other motherfucker got to be a Negro, so let's go.
Yeah, and you know, to that point, that last scene, I thought it was interesting that the mafia guys didn't hesitate about shooting a black cop. They did not care at all. But going to what Brother Naru said in the beginning, you know, we like to boast and brag about being gangsters, but let somebody flash a badge.
Exactly.
That was a powerful point.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that was a very good observation, Brother Naru, because I mean, they was fucking with the preacher, and he pulled that badge out, and they had scattered. They actually scattered. And what's so funny about that is the progression of that hustle of imitating the cop back then was just some fuckaboo shit. Today, these motherfuckers imitate cops. They coming to rob your motherfucking ass and kill everybody in the goddamn house.
Right.
So the progression of that hustle is definitely something to witness. So with that concludes the review. Again, I think it's a very good film. I knew that people would probably wonder why the hell I wanted this to be viewed, and now you kind of like understand. But especially that scene at the dinner table, but it still had a lot more in the film, and again, I learned something because although I saw that part that Naru brought out, that was a great part to focus on because that was really something to bestow. And then finally, as Tyra talked about, as Blue is dying, Blue really did. In terms of what one would consider love, he loved motherfucking white folks. And I'm gonna tell you, even though it is viewed as love of a son, it took me back to something that Malcolm X had in his autobiography. And I'm gonna ask y'all this question. In Malcolm's autobiography, he mentions the fact that his father took one of the 7 children to all of the UNIA meetings. And it was only one child he always took to the meeting. Who was that child?
It wasn't him?
40 years.
It
wasn't him?
It was
Malcolm, right?
He always took Malcolm.
Yeah.
Now, why did he say he believed his dad took him to those meetings?
I think he said I'm guessing. I'm guessing.
He saw something in him, didn't he?
He had to. He saw something in him.
Because he was already defined. Oh, okay. I thought he was already defined with his mom and everything that was going on.
He the youngest one. He was the youngest. Malcolm said in his book that he felt his father favored him and took him to those meetings because he was the lightest of all the children.
Wow. Wow.
Malcolm was like,
He sure did.
He said, although his father, because remember, his mama was real fair skinned and his dad was real dark skinned.
Wow.
And he was the lightest of the siblings, of the children. And he said he reasoned that was it. He favored him because he was closest comparison to the mother. So I thought about that with blue and white folks because, yeah, he treated him as a son, but also psychologically was the cracker thing going on. You see what I'm saying? This is like my prized possession. So you learn that he is placed on a higher pedestal than who?
His wife. His wife. His own wife, yeah.
Y'all get that shit?
Yeah, that's heavy. And that goes to what Sister Fabu said earlier. We are psychologically sick and don't have a clue. We don't even know. We don't understand how sick we are.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is why those 6 pillars are so important.
Exactly. But when it came down to that motherfucking getting that money, even though his white son said, let's roll, the power of that other white boy was greater than his white son.
Well, you know, that money is his God, so that's a bit different. Yeah, that's a bit different. Yeah, I love you, son, but this is my God.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's what I had, man. Any questions?
I hope not. We got to go.
I know,
I'm happy I made it. I'm gonna try to make it, man. I got about 4 hours sleep, so I'm about to go back to sleep around this.
That's all I had, but y'all check out that 1 minute dinner scene, send that shit to some people, try to have some dialogue, some conversations about that. And then the next film we'll do Plutocracy 1.
Okay, for anyone, well, of course this is recorded, so if you want it, I can send it to you. But all the links, I try to, when Brother Craig mentions a person, an issue, whatever, I try to put those links in the chat. So if you haven't seen it, it is there. And if you want a copy of the chat, I can send it to you because, of course, it is recorded. So with that, thank you guys for being here as always. Always remember 2 things: no one can do everything, but if everyone does something, everything will get done. And absolutely always remember that nothing is more sacred than liberation and salvation of Black people. So with that, you guys have a wonderful day. God bless, and we'll see you soon.
All right, good bro.
Peace.